We saw a huge shift. It's happened just recently with device makers trying to make it more private for the consumer. We've read in all the articles about Facebook advertising has fallen off of a cliff. If we talk to D2C operators, they're talking about ads being less effective. So you are in this interesting position because like you're tasked with understanding the platforms, you're tasked with understanding consumer. Platforms for sure are changing pretty darn fast. How are you and your teams thinking about navigating these changes? We used to think if you had a 360 view of consumer, you got it, right? Well, that's kind of going, I won't say it's going away. It's starting to be limited. I think that's fair to say, right? And I think that's going to continue because I think the device makers are going to keep on that pledge because it seems like consumers like it, right? So they're going to make it more private.
It's sort of the reason why I love this industry and this job so much is that change is constant. And I think change generates an enormous amount of ideation and innovation. And I love that, right? I don't see it as a risk or kind of as a challenge. I see it as energy. I see I feel it's massively invigorating. More practically, I mean, we obviously track the industry extremely closely, and we sit on the advisory boards of all the big digital platforms, and we have legal and regulatory advisors consulting with us on this stuff all the time. And so I think specifically this issue around consumer data management is a much longer arc. It really started with consumers having a backlash against third-party cookies and putting in ad blockers in browsers and these kind of things. It then was sort of fast followed by the regulators, particularly in Europe, where the European Union has been very strict on consumer data management for years now with GDPR. The US is now becoming stricter through legislation like CCPA. But then you have all these sort of black swans that come in from the side, like China, that roll out Pipple, and literally within 3 months, we're not allowed to use any third-party cookies at all, and we have to adopt new methods of targeting consumers. And so I think the regulatory regime is sort of moving in one direction. And then thirdly, the technology companies, even long before Google announced that they were going to deprecate third-party cookies in Chrome, I mean, Safari, Mozilla, all these platforms were not allowing third-party cookies for years already. So the signal from third-party cookies has been declining massively. So it's not a surprise. And that gives you more time to figure out what you want to do and how you want to respond to it, right? Our role as agencies are really to represent our clients' interests and our clients' brands and to be stewards of their brands, which includes, by the way, the trust relationship between those brands and their customers, right? Their end consumers. And I just don't think that surveillance is a particularly good customer experience. If you're a consumer and you know that a brand that you love and that you shop with regularly, sort of tracking you around the internet and trying to figure out, like what websites you go to and what content you read. I mean, it's just negative, right? It's a terrible experience. So just like when I walk into your shop and it's hot outside and I want a cold Coke, give me a cold Coke, right? Don't say, I want your email address and, sign up to my Instagram page and, what's your income and, define your gender for me. It's like, no, just give me a freaking cold Coke, right? So I think that's sort of, but understanding context and understanding occasions completely is not just a question of knowing where you are at what time. It's understanding a whole lot of other things about you. It's understanding the weather, the traffic patterns. Are you in an event? Are there lots of other people at the event? It's understanding at an aggregate level, what music genres are trending in this part of New York City. And this is the beautiful thing about occasion-based planning and activation, or occasion-based targeting, is that you don't have to know things at the granular level. You can know things at a city level, you can know things at a state level, and drive an enormous amount of relevance for consumers at that level. So we're excited about that approach, and I think it's completely in line with the zeitgeist. It's exactly where consumer sentiment is going. It's where the regulators and the technical standards are going. And so we're investing a lot of time and effort in building solutions for our clients to do that.
Hey, thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel for more great IT thought leadership. And thanks to our partners at Salesforce Platform for making this show possible. Go to salesforce.com/newsletter to discover timely insights and useful tips tailored to your role.